The word church was first used by Matthew when he was relaying Jesus' comment in Matthew chapter 16 verse 18. The Lord came and said, "And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church." That's the first place that word is used. Now, why is it significant that I am noting that Matthew was the first person to mention that word in the New Testament? If you will recall, when we're discussing the contents of the New Testament, we noted that Matthew, the first gospeler, wrote to Jews, and that the language he used was Aramaic, not Greek. The word church is a Greek word called ecclesia, and that's what we call church in English today. So one would have expected that because he was writing to the Jews and they are more familiar with synagogue, he would have translated what Jesus was saying as synagogue, but he did not. Rather, he translated it as ecclesia, church. Writing to Jews in Aramaic, he put in a Greek word. Why did he do that? He wanted to prove to them and to us that, number one, the church is distinct from a synagogue. That the church and the synagogue are not the same. In fact, if we go down to the book of Revelation, you will see something that the Lord Jesus Christ said in distinguishing the church from the synagogue. Let me read Revelation chapter 2. I'll read from verse 8 through to verse 9. I'm using verse 8 for context. "And to the angel of the church in Smyrna write, these things says the first and the last, who was dead and came to life. I know your works, tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. And I know the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan." So he's writing to the church in Smyrna and saying there are a people who are in that same Smyrna with you. They think or claim that they are of God. That is, that they are Jews and therefore of God. But they are a synagogue of Satan. They claim to be worshippers of God. They claim to be the church. But he said, no, they are a synagogue of Satan. So he makes that distinction that these people are a synagogue of Satan. So there's a distinction between church and synagogue. And that Matthew is the one who first of all documented it is significant.